In a previous video, I had shown you how to laminate parts from thin strips of wood using a two-part form. But these very thin strips are subject to cracking, especially in tight radius bends. But during a recent project, I came across an easy tip to solve this problem. I discovered that I could pre-bend the parts before gluing, making the entire process much easier. It turns out that soaking the parts is the key. The strips to be laminated are cut and prepped in the same manner as before, but then immersed in water for half an hour to an hour, allowing them to become pliable. Nothing complicated about this. I simply used water from the tap at room temperature. The thin strips soak through quickly and become very pliable. The trick is to have them dry out while bent. Without any glue, and while they're still wet, the stack of laminations is clamped into the same form that they'll get glued up in. There's no glue drying, so there's no rush. The time can be taken now to make sure the stack is in the proper order, that all the parts are lined up, all of those things that are usually difficult to do because you're racing against the clock. Once the parts are clamped tight in your fixture, you can set it aside and allow it to dry. It's best to let it sit at least overnight. You want it to dry out pretty thoroughly. Once the parts are dry and removed from the clamps, they will largely retain their shape, greatly reducing the stress they'll be under during the final clamping. If you're not going to glue them up right away, put some tape around the ends to hold them in position until you're ready. Gluing up is no different than before. You're simply applying glue to the curved pieces rather than straight ones. But the actual clamping will be much easier. With the parts pre-bent, you're not forcing them from straight all the way through to bent. All you need to do is finish closing the clamps around the form. To see more great content like this, visit my website at www.consultingwoodworker.com.